Hello, Adeline. ¿Cómo estás, Paola?
Hola, Alex.
Joy can be a miracle pill. An antidepressant that cures OCD, lowers anxiety, and increases focus.
Señoras y señores, bienvenidos a Esto es Combo. Sí, ¿por qué? Porque tenemos hoy un especial, como lo vieron en el título, en la miniatura, un especial de la nueva serie basado en el universo de Resident Evil. Un universo que ha sido explotado en el cine muchísimas veces y últimamente se ha creado nuevas versiones en animación, en live action. Esta es la última, esta no se ha estrenado, no se confundan porque hubo un estreno hace poquito con otro elenco y con otra historia. Esto es individual, esto es totalmente independiente a eso que hayan visto anteriormente. Es una nueva historia que se estrena a través de Netflix, 8 capítulos, la serie de Resident Evil, y tenemos el close-up, la entrevista con algunas de las protagonistas de esta película.
They said the world would end in 2036, but they were wrong.
Así es, como lo dijeron, está contada en dos líneas de tiempo. Una que es, digamos que antes del apocalipsis, y otra 14 años después, ya cuando está hecho una mierda todo el planeta entero. Así que eso es lo que vamos a poder observar. We are going to watch this new version of Resident Evil. Lately, we have seen a lot of kind of point of views about this story. Can you tell me what are we going to watch in this version?
This, even though it's like the Resident Evil world, it's a whole new story. We wanted to branch out of like the games and stuff, and this is a story about a family, Dr. Wexter and their two daughters, and just trying to move into the Umbrella city,
the new Raccoon City,
the new Raccoon City. The interesting part about this story, this live action story, is we have like two timelines, right? So we see the two daughters of Albert Wesker when they're small, and then what happens after, like, how many years?
14 years apart.
14 years.
Yeah.
And so we get to see the before and after. We can say the before the destruction, and after the destruction of Raccoon City.
I think essentially what you can kind of see coming is it's in the same world, so there will be a lot of elements of the game. So the original fans will have elements to hold on to and kind of have little peekaboo moments.
Yeah.
So there is that, but it is also more so set in the same world as the video games, but just going off of a different storyline.
The world ended a long time ago.
How are you feeling with this story, this apocalyptic and dramatic and very intense between both sisters, the story?
It's just like you said, very intense. It's very fast-paced. It's always moving. But what we love about the show is that there's times where there's just a breather, where we get to see the emotional side of each characters.
Absolutely.
One thing that I love about this kind of stories in particular, it's that there's no good guys or bad guys, just those human beings with his own circumstances, you know, something that push them to do something bad or good. Can you tell me what kind of character do you have? You are the good girls, the bad girls? How can you define it?
We're good at...
No, I think it's really interesting what you just said, Alex, that no one is bad or good. But, you know, we all have choices that we make in life. And I always see my character, I play Evelyn Marcus, and I always see my character as like a wounded soul that made the wrong choices. And, you know, she's really ambitious. She wants to prove herself to the world, and she wants to change the world. And maybe her ambition and she's really narcissistic, so that makes her make wrong choices, and she's lacking of empathy. So, but it's not her fault. No, it's not her fault. But she's lacking of empathy, so she makes choices that are not good, and she doesn't think about the consequences that are huge and really bad. So yeah, you could say my character is not a good person, but I would have to disagree. So yeah, that's Evelyn Martins. That's who I'm playing.
I don't know how much I can say just yet about my character. I mean, people know that I will be playing Billy Wesker in the later timeline. I think with Billy specifically, again, not to give away too much, there is a drastic change in her in the older storyline, but because you kind of get to follow her on her journey from where it began to what she ends up being, I think there is a lot of empathy that you can have for my character, and I ultimately have a lot of empathy for her. Again, I think she just has a different view on the world because of everything that has happened to her, just like any human being. So I don't think she's inherently bad or anything like that. I think she just chose a different path because of the circumstances she kind of found herself in.
Umbrella, a company besieged by scandal, is now trying to reinvent itself.
For each one of you, which kind of scenes do you enjoy the most? You know, like in the action scenes, or when you just relaxing and laughing, or when you're crying? I don't know.
I think the action ones it's always an easy answer because they're so much fun. But I think just as an actor, I love the emotional scenes. It's just so much fun to like play around with them and to see what you can find and see what you can feel and make every take different, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think that's just my favorite.
Yeah, I'd agree. We weren't very kind of experienced in the world of stunts before this show, and so I think it was really fun for us to kind of play around with that, because the best thing about it is you can kind of make all these like violent scenes really comedic, which is what we love, because it's just kind of just adding layers onto these scenes.
Everyone keep your mouths shut.
Being teenager is hard, but being teenager with your characters is harder. Can you tell me what kind of journey are you going to face?
There's a bunch. Just in our timeline, we end up going through, in episode 1, Billy takes Jade to Umbrella Corporation, where she finds out that they're doing animal testing, and then Billy ends up getting bitten by a dog and gets infected. That changes everything.
Forever.
Yeah.
And that kind of just, you know, kickstarts a series of unfortunate events from there.
Yeah, basically.
We have a problem. The drug contains the T virus.
Adeline, how can you define this story? It's a sci-fi, it's a zombie series, it's a apocalyptic series. How can you tell me?
All of the above. Like, you did a great job kind of pinpointing all those words. Yeah, I would call it it's definitely more of in the horror genre because of the games. And we're trying to honor that while also adding elements of, there's a lot of thrills. It is definitely post-apocalyptic.
Action. But you know, it also, what I love about the show is that you also get to see relationships. It talks about humans and how we are with our relationships. And, you know, sometimes, I don't know what's worse, dealing with a zombie or with your own family. So,
good point. Yeah.
So it talks a lot about human nature and relationships and how we are connected or disconnected to the people that we love. So that's why I feel that it's not like a specific genre. It touches like everything, like drama, action, horror. It's just like packed with everything you want.
Yeah.
The old Umbrella made mistakes. The things we're working on today, they're gonna change the world.
How did you build your chemistry? Because you have a lot of scenes together, and there's action scenes, but there's drama, there's tears, there's joy, there's everything that two sisters can explore. So how can you build it? You were friends before this, or you met on the set?
We had never met before this, and the funniest thing was we never did a screen test together. We literally ended up just kind of going in and filming, which was terrifying for I think everyone, because they were just like, what if they hate each other? And we do, but no, I think we got really lucky, because when we first kind of met each other, there was that instant connection. And I think from there, it was just kind of just taking it slow, because we didn't want to force it. And so I think we kind of got started filming, and I think you can kind of see that relationship grow as our relationship grows.
Yeah, that's true. We both, it was really important to us to show that on screen. We both have sisters, and I think we wanted to portray that, you know, authentically.
Yeah.
And it's easy working with Tamara because in the scenes, like, we both just work off of each other, and I think that just helped a lot.
The T virus can make monsters.
Billions will die.
You know how works the fan base in the world. So Resident Evil has a very hard fan base, and they are always giving their opinion about this version or that one or the before that. What can you tell them that they're going to find in this series?
I think fans will be excited that we have the Resident Evil monsters, and you have that same world. It's in Raccoon City. You have the virus and Umbrella Corporation. It's just taking the story and expanding it from the perspective of Albert Wesker and
To the next generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the next generation, and just the family.
Yeah.
Did you play the game before this, or you just find this new world when you received the script?
I remember playing a couple times on my Nintendo Switch on set.
Did you?
Yeah.
I remember.
In the restaurant. Yeah.
I watched it from afar.
Yes.
I was too scared.
Yeah, I know. But now that you are in the world, did you watch the other versions? I don't know if about the movies or just the video games.
Preparing for the role, we both watched people playing the game so that we were familiar with, you know, the whole world and the themes in it and just the scares. But it's super humbling to be a part of something so exciting and just so big and established already.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just like joining like this new kind of family and fan base. It's really kind of humbling, to be honest.
It's complicated.
Sí, ya lo vieron, Paola Núñez, mexicana, la vimos en telenovelas mucho tiempo por acá y en Estados Unidos ha estado dándole en los últimos años, encontrando personajes cada vez más importantes. La vimos la última vez que yo la recuerdo por lo menos en Bad Boys for Life, ahí con Will Smith y Martin Lawrence. Ahora se une como la jefasa, la mala, digamos, de la historia. Bastante chido el personaje y esto es parte de lo que dijo acerca de él. Pao, you play this villain, but she's the boss. Sometimes when Latins appear in the stories, we die in 5 minutes, or we are like the, you know, like a second role in the story. But you have this role that is very important for you, I think. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, you're right, Alex. Like, me being a Mexican, I was like, am I gonna die in episode 1? Am I gonna be murdered by a zombie? But no, the fact that I am a badass CEO makes me really happy. I think this is a complex, interesting character. The fact that she's Latina has nothing to do. She could be from any ethnicity, and those are the characters that I like to play. No, I don't like to play like token Latina. I love to play characters that could be like from any part of the world, and she's just like a really interesting, powerful woman, and I love that about her.
Thank you, girls. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having us.
Adiós, Alex. Besos.
Adiós.
Ahí lo tienen, muchachos. Díganme por favor qué es lo que opinan acerca de esta serie, qué es lo que esperan acerca de ella. Se estrena en unas cuantas horas. Y ojo, porque te vamos a traer en otro video lo bueno, lo malo y lo raro acerca de esta nueva serie para que veas si va contigo o no. Mientras tanto, vámonos que aquí espantan. Yo soy Alex pásenla chido, suscríbanse y nos vemos en el cine. Bye.
We know what goes on the warning label, right?
I got the joy.